Hey, Facebook, it's Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions in the rainy, cold Pacific Northwest today. I'm going to work on trying to make this a little bit bigger so I can see your comments. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today's trainer talk is going to be about harnesses. Lots have changed over the years since I became a positive reinforcement force free trainer. Back in the day, our options were pretty much flat buckle collar, head collar. That was it. That was the only things that people did that weren't punishment based that we worked on to stop pulling and work on some leash manners and things like that. But harnesses have come a long way since then. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different harnesses today. And I've got my trusty companion here, Mayflower. So if there's any old root dog training fans out there, you may remember Mr. Mayflower. He was the staple demo dog back when I lived in Illinois. Mayflower is actually named because a Springer Spaniel was brought over on the Mayflower as one of their hunting dogs. So we named him with a little historical nod to that. So he's going to be on my demo dog because luckily he's about the same size as most of my own dogs. So most of my harnesses are going to fit Mr. Mayflower here. So Laura says, hi, Mayflower. I know it's been a while since you've seen him. And so we're going to start actually with the harness that is on Mayflower right now. This is a Sensation harness. And they have a very similar harness that's really popular out here in the Pacific Northwest called the Wonder Walker. And they are sold as no pull harnesses. There is usually a ring in the front. Sometimes there's a ring in the top also. This one does not have that. I believe the Wonder Walker does. So when this harness first came out on the market, it was awesome. It was revolutionary, actually, to work on no pulling and the concept of hooking a leash on the front. I don't love this harness anymore. This harness, the Wonder Walker, the Easy Walk harness by Premier, used to be, well, now it's Pet Safe. I don't love them. And the reason I don't love them is they tend to go right across the dog's shoulders, and it definitely limits their range of motion, which is part of how they work. The Easy Walk harness I dislike even more because it has a martingale in the front and it pinches their shoulders, so dogs walk around like this. The other problem that I see most often with both these, Easy Walk, all of those types of harnesses, is I call it the bad bra fitting version of a harness. And you will see it normally hanging down about here on the dog, which does us no good. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to for limiting pulling, but it also is very bad on the anatomical side of things and making sure that the shoulders are working properly. So definitely not my favorite harness. Like I said, when these harnesses first came out on the market, definitely and I think still actually the view is about harnesses that harnesses cause pulling. Guess what? Behavior which is reinforced reoccurs. And so if a dog wants to pull to get to something awesome, and they do, and then they get to whatever that reinforcement was, they're going to continue pulling no matter what equipment is on them. As my old trainer, Janet, actually from Illinois, used to say, is it takes two to pull. If your dog is off leash, guess what? They're not pulling. And most likely they're walking the exact same way as if they weren't pulling or are pulling on leash. It just looks different when you attach a 6-foot leash to them. And in general, walking in suburbia or even in the cities, it's so boring for dogs. So they try to create their own entertainment, usually by pulling towards things that they can sniff and investigate. And then the more you let them pull, the more they get reinforced for their pulling. And like I said, it takes two to pull. So like I said, these came out though, at least they tried to change a lot of people's minds by, we're going to hook the leash up to the front and deter pulling by getting the dogs to be turned around, things like that, get their focus refocused on us instead of pulling. So these will definitely discourage pulling. My youngest dog, Lindy, has never had a leash attached to her front of her harness, and she does not pull because I have worked very diligently since she was a puppy that pulling is not reinforcing. And if I'm in a situation where I want to pull, I put on different harnesses. So we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so we're going to take off the Sensation / Wonder Walker / Easy Walk off of Mr. Mayflower, and we're going to try on some other harnesses that I like. So if you have a dog who has issues with harnesses going over their head like that, That's really common for dogs, that's a problem. There's a couple different harnesses on the market that I would recommend. The first being, this is what my dogs walk in. This is actually Lindy's harness. This is the balance harness. And the balance harness, the reason why it's awesome, I'm going to come up a little closer, is there is a clip on the neck. So if you have a dog that you're working on, oh, you can't see it. There you go. Maybe there you can see it. That sliding the harness over their head is a problem. You can instead put it around their neck like this. This may not fit totally correctly because this is Lindy's harness on a mannequin. So that's great. You can put it on more like a collar instead of a harness, and that helps a lot of dogs out. And then there are 2 clips on the bottom that I don't know if it's going to... Lindy's clearly a little skinnier than Mr. Mayflower is, so let's do one of those clips. But the balance harness is designed with a double clip leash involved. This is my double clip leash from the Blue Nine company that makes the balance harness. So you can clip leash in front and leash in back, and you have, I like to think of it as like reins on a horse. I rode for years and years, so that's how I use this harness. If I have a really strong puller, I will kind of have a give and a take between the front and the back. I also think it makes dogs very much aware of their body as they're walking. But the biggest reason I love the balance harness is it does not limit motion, and it has so many adjustable points. Because it has so many adjustable points, sometimes it can be a little hard getting them adjusted, but like I said, these are the harnesses that I personally walk my dogs in, and I love them. I do highly recommend the leash that they sell with them because it gives you so much flexibility. It has a bunch of different points that you can clip to. You can clip to 2 points on the harness. You can clip a shorter leash by shortening it down. You can make it longer. There's all sorts of flexibility. I do use this one that they sell that is a nylon one. I also have a identical leash that is leather that I love that came from Boldly Designs. Not inexpensive, but well worth it, and it is my favorite leash that I use daily. Sometimes you have to invest a little bit in good equipment that's going to last a long time, that's for sure. All right, so this is why some dogs don't like harnesses going over their heads, is we sit there and we manhandle them and we pull it off and we get it stuck behind their ears. Obviously, this wasn't quite fit right, but that's what I see all the time with clients. So I wouldn't like that either. So that's a balance harness. So I love it. You can clip it on and off, kind of depends on what the dog likes. Another good option, if you're looking for a harness that does not limit mobility, this is a fleece extra dog harness. Actually, our other trainer, Lorena, bought this harness when she was over in England, thinking that her dog was much smaller than it actually is. I'm not quite sure how she thought her very large pit bull was going to fit into this harness, but I got the benefit of it. So this one is one that goes over their head. Even it's too small for Mr. Mayflower a little bit here. Oh, poor Mayflower. He's having a rough time here. And so what I love about this is a Y-shaped harness. And so it's going to sit down on the neck and then go from there. As you can see, though, the neck hole on this harness is not adjustable at all. And so if it doesn't, you have to work on that part. And so it gives you a little less adjustability, but the belly strap is adjustable, but not the center strap is not, the head is not. So it depends on the size dog you have. It may or may not fit. I do love, oh, you're having a bad hair day there, Mr. Mayflower. I do love that these are fleece lined. So for smooth coated dogs, super comfy, does not limit the range of motion. Like I said, this is a brand called Extra Dog that was picked up in England. I don't even know if they sell them here in this country, but they do sell other Y-shaped harnesses for sure. Another option that has a dual clip, this one is called Chai's Choice. And I got this actually initially for Lindy to be her nose work harness. And I personally didn't love how it functioned for my handling. Actually, it had nothing to do with Lindy. I was used to dogs running in a Comfort Flex harness, and so I just didn't like how this little handle got tangled. But it had nothing to do actually with the harness. So same thing, this is another harness that has to go over the head. And this one, though, has a lot more adjustment points than the Y one that we just showed you. So this one does not have adjustments in the length of the middle, but it does have neck adjustments, and then it also has belly adjustments. It does have a clip in the front and a clip in the back, so if you wanted to use a double leash system, you can. It also has a little handle. I actually like the little handles on harnesses if you need to have a little extra control. Just gives you another place to hold your dog if you need to. These ones come in super cute colors. They have some reflective material sewn into them, which I appreciate. Here it gets so dark so early, and when it's rainy, definitely being reflective is important. So this is a harness that I think is great. I believe I got it on Chewy. They might sell it on Amazon too. It's Amazon Prime Day, so there's lots of good deals out there. Definitely go check it out if you want. Like I said, this is called Chai's Choice harness. It is a wide fitting harness. It does not limit mobility, which is a reason why I did try it for Lindy. Then my other fun harness, this is a great one. If you have one of those oddly shaped dogs, who has one of those? Anybody out there have an oddly shaped dog? Or if you have a smooth coated dog that easily gets their armpits chafed, I highly, highly, highly recommend the Perfect Fit harness that comes in 3 components. And that is why it is super adjustable and called the Perfect Fit. So the, yeah, that's a better place to see it. So this is the back piece. And then it has the center strap, which clips in. I'm not going to unclip it. And then the belly strap. All 3 pieces are sold separately. So once again, if you have a dog who's not loving harnesses going over their head, this is another harness that you can politely run around their neck like a collar and not have to lean over them and get their ears and all that kind of stuff. And because each component comes separately, you can really make it very customizable to those wide bulldogs or the really skinny Vizslas that have deep chests, or the greyhounds, things like that. I love them for that reason. I don't recommend these harnesses for dogs that have a lot of coat, because it does get all in the polar fleece and makes a bit of a mess. This one is actually my dog Rizzo's harness, and she is an American Water Spaniel. So she has coat, but it doesn't shed like my Toller does. I actually don't have one like this for my Toller. Also, again, double clipping. So if you want to use that 2-leash concept, you can, which I do, like I said, I love. Super nice fuzzy belly strap. These are great. I personally have bought mine off of cleanrun.com. I am not sure where else sells them, but they are great at fitting. So if you're a little unsure about size and things like that, they are really good at helping you figure out what you need for that perfect fit. So I did say, though, that there's times where I want my dogs to pull, and either when I'm doing nose work, I don't mind them pulling, or if I'm on a sniffari, they can be at the end of their long line. I don't really want pulling so much in that situation, but they can have some more go with their pace. So I like to change my harnesses out depending on the activity that I'm doing. So when I'm doing nose work, where I do want my dogs to pull, I have a very specific harness I use. This is the Comfort Flex harness. This is not the only harness to use for nose work. Many of these other harnesses people use for nose work. I just personally like how this one works for my dogs. So what I love about the Comfort Flex is slides over the head, really easy. This is Lindy's. See the little Canadian maple leaves? She has her special Canadian harness. She was born in California, but she is a Canadian breed, being a Toller. So I love that all this takes is a little Velcro on the side, and then one Velcro and then clip. So I like that besides the clip, it also has a Velcro. It gives you a little extra security there in case something goes a little wrong. And then the leash clips back here. It definitely stays out of the dog's way. It has some nice range of motion where it clips, which is why I like this for nose work. It really keeps my leash out of the way. I'm a very big bugaboo about leash handling for nose work and how to support your dog and not interrupt their searching. So that's what I love the Comfort Flexes for. You can also use this little part as a handle. So actually, when I'm doing nose work, I hold the dog frequently by this little handle at the start line to get them focused and ready to go. So that's a great option if you do want pulling, sniffari time, nose work, things like that. Then the last harness I'm going to talk about, these are all my own personal harnesses, just so you know. I don't have the front range harness by Ruffwear. We recommend that one a lot. Clients love it. We have, it's also easily available in many specialty stores. So thumbs up on that one. Also has double clips, padded, really comfy, cute colors. But this is the last one I'm going to talk about for my dogs. So this is called the Choke Free harness. And It is, see, oh, ho, 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 ho. So it's a little different. It does not go over their head at all. It's not going to fit Mayflower because it's actually Bueller's harness, and he's only like 15 pounds. Oh, he's a little bigger now. He's like 17 pounds. So it actually they step in it, and then it goes up. And it actually is designed to sit low on, not across their chest at all, but really sit low on their chest and just go around their legs and then clip in the back. It has a double Velcro system. Let me get down here. So it Velcros, and then you slide the little notch, and then you clip your leash there. And that's what it looks like when it's together. So Bueller oh no, Mayflower fell over. Sorry, Mayflower. So Bueller has some longer-term tracheal damage from being a baby puppy walking on slip leads in the sheltering situation. And so even all of these harnesses that fit most dogs without an issue, don't cause any gagging, things like that, Bueller starts gagging very, very easily with any type of pressure on his leash. And so we found this harness to be the best of the best for him. He does not gag in it, no matter if he's pulling, not pulling, doesn't bother him. So choke-free harness. I think I initially found it on In the Company of Dogs, and I may have also bought one on Amazon. It's not readily available. It's great. I love it for small dogs. They do not make this in large dog size. So this little tiny one is actually a large. So it's not meant for big dogs. It's only meant for little dogs. So speaking of little dogs, let's talk about harnesses for little dogs. Probably my favorite brand for small dogs is Papilla. They make what we call a sling harness that is mesh across the chest here, but also does not have any type of adjustability on the neck part. So you have to really base it on the neck. So if you have a dog who has a bigger neck than their body or a tiny neck versus their body, it may not fit great for them. And as you can see by all the different harnesses I own, and I didn't even actually go dig deep into my other bin of harnesses, sometimes you have to play around with what works best for you and your dog. It's not just about your dog. The harnesses that I used to recommend heavily, and actually used to sell when I lived in Illinois at my facility, was the Freedom harness. It's not my favorite harness so much anymore. Once again, I don't love how it rides on the dogs. It is very challenging to fit a lot of dogs, but it's also a good harness if you're looking for that in-between, gives you a little more control than some of these, but also they can't slip out of it usually. Most dogs can't slip out of it. That's what I don't like about the Easy Walk and the Sensations. I've definitely seen many a dog learn to slip out of them. I trained a dog many years ago that with his Easy Walk harness learned how to basically collapse his shoulders down, roll on the ground, and roll right out of his harness. And he was heavily reinforced for that behavior because then he got to gallivant around the neighborhood instead of going back to his house at the end of his walk. So remember, behavior which is reinforced will reoccur. So if dogs are pulling and they get to smell great things on their harness, then they're going to keep pulling. If dogs are focused and attentive, then they're going to work on that. And that's what gets them rewards. So I hope this kind of gave you some information about different harnesses, what we look for in a harness. My big things are lack of, I really don't want the dog's shoulders being constricted at all when I am looking at a harness. That's my biggest thing that dogs need, is they need to have freedom of movement of their front end, especially puppies as they grow. That's really critical. We don't want to tighten them up. All right, so Laura says, what harness would you recommend for a 5-month-old beagle? 5-month-old beagles, they're cute. I would probably start actually with the Papilla. Definitely when they're growing. To be honest, I buy inexpensive harnesses as they're growing that do not restrict movement. So I know they're going to outgrow them. I know that it's not going to be their permanent harness. So that's definitely what I look for those for puppies. So remember, harnesses do not cause pulling. Reinforcement causes pulling. So think about that, and let's give our dogs a harness instead of even a buckle collar. I really want to make sure that I'm not doing any damage to their tracheas. If they accidentally, pull towards a squirrel or things like that, I want to make sure that walking is the most comfortable for them as possible. And Mayflower says, thank you for letting him join our live today. And if you were on my last live where we tried to talk about harnesses, I hope you enjoyed this a little better than the chaos that ensued with my own personal dogs. Lindy's actually just hanging out in her crate sleeping right now with the door open. So a little bit more calm than last time. So once again, I'm Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions in Portland, Oregon. I hope this helped you answer some of your harness questions, and we look forward to talking with you guys soon. Have a great day.